Hey everybody, this is Captain Frugal reporting for duty, giving you my weekly comic book review. So sit back and enjoy. Alright everybody, for those of you that know the drill, I go over a bunch of comic books for the week that I chose to read. Now I didn't have time to read everything, so if I missed something you think I should have read, let me know in the comments below. Also, you may disagree with me on some of my choices. If that's the case, that's alright. Let me know below. Let's just try to keep it civil. My goal is to bring back the old schoolyard days, where we would be in discussing what hero could beat who or what comic book was good and not. And I come armed with my trusty notes, so you'll hear the paper rattle because I do it a little bit old school. I do my grading on a scale of 0 through 10, 7 being average as a 70%. So I'm using schoolyard grading. But that's not all. I also use the League of Comics Geeks to give you other people's views as well as a brief overview of the comic book as well. So let's jump right in. Well, welcome back everybody to another episode where I go over a bunch of comic books that I chose to read that maybe you might like, and I give you my views, which yours may differ than mine. But before I do, I want to take a moment to thank the people that continue to support this channel through Subscribestar and Patreon. We have The Fly Attractor. And by the way, if I butcher names, I do apologize. We have TSPH, Neostar Productions, Crazy Cat, Upsize, Penny for Your Dimes, Comic Boom, and Rags. These people have been nothing short of amazing in promoting and helping this channel. I truly mean it. Without them, this would not be possible. All right, with that said, let's jump into the first book. Got my notes here. 239 out of 242 like this book with a 4.3 average rating, and the book is none other than Transformers number 14. I gave this book a strong 7.5, so we're not quite in agreement with how high it should be. I didn't give it as high as them, but still, it was a great book. Writers Daniel Warren Johnson, artist is Jason Howard. Everything has changed from the most conniving Decepticon in the universe has ever seen. Yeah, there's a lot of really conniving in this book here, and I tell you, Starscream is looking to get his redemption. This is, yes, the return of Starscream after he got his butt kicked. There's a new Decepticon team forming, and it's decent art and an interesting story. I am enjoying this Transformers series. I don't think anybody that's a fan of Transformers would dislike this book. The next book I want to jump into talking about is none other than DC vs. Vampires World War V, issue number 4. Boy, is that a mouthful. 61 out of 66 liked it with a 4.1 average rating. I gave it a 7.3. Once again, not thinking it's quite as good as they did. Writers Matthew K. Manning as well as Matthew Rosenberg, and the artist is Aki Bright and Otto Schmidt. And once again, if I butcher these, no ill intent meant. We have Gorilla Grodd and Aquaman. They have had little luck capturing the elusive Damian Wayne, but a mysterious figure arrives bearing a whispered prophecy that could turn the tide of war in their favor. Elsewhere, John Constantine, drunk as usual, might well be the human resistance last hope. Just a shame he can't seem to remember what it is and what he's meant to be doing. Also, we find out who's in the Batman costume, and that's an interesting turn. We find out, really, I mean, because we know it can't be Bruce Wayne. Decent art in this issue, decent story progression. Is this the end of Damian? We'll have to read to see. And the second story in this is also pretty interesting as well. Solid story, I'm enjoying it. I look forward to the next issue. Let's jump into another DC book, because sometimes it's just not easy being green. We're talking about Green Lantern issue number 17, where 171 out of 190 liked it with a 3.8 average rating. I gave the book a 7.2, pretty darn strong. Writers Jeremy Adams, artist is Zaramanko, which I just completely butchered. And by the way, if you've been enjoying this Green Lantern series, Jeremy Adams will be picking up another Green Lantern series as well. So 2 Green Lantern series going, I'm looking forward to it. Anyway, Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart mounted defense against the United Planets and the newly transformed Lord Premier Varos, which I might have butchered that too, all while Star Sapphire faces an unlikely creature from her past. This issue, though, tended to have a slow start, probably why I gave it a 7.2. Good art for the series, though, and Kyle Reiner finally gets off his useless butt to do something. Ooh boy, the Kyle Reiner fans are going to be pissed at me that I made that little cheap shot there. But let's be honest, he's been pretty useless throughout this whole thing, and well, maybe he'll finally step it up. I've never been a big fan of that character. Just me. Maybe you love him. That's okay too. Hey guys, today's video is sponsored by My Wallet. Yeah, I'm not trying to push any kind of wallet or pimp any wallet out. What I mean is it's sponsored by my personal wallet and the cash that comes out of it to pay for these things. If you want to help with this, you can hit like, subscribe, that notification bell. Those are great ways to get started. But if you find yourself in a position where you can help the channel more, we have a Patreon and a subscribe star down below that you can click on those links. And for as little as $1 a month, you'll have special videos and things to just you, music that you can get. Or maybe if you wanted to, a one-time donation just to help out, we have a Streamlabs link down below. Or we also have, if you go to the Patreon shop, you could buy a song for like $3. I wish I could put them a little lower, but that's the minimum they allow for that. So there's lots of options. Sometimes you might even see an Amazon link. If you want to buy anything through Amazon, click on my link first, then go through there. That'll give me a couple pennies, possibly that way too as well. So there's lots of ways you can help out the channel, because without you, it would not be possible. So thank you, everybody. And let's get back to the video. Next, time to talk about Batman and Robin, issue number 15. 179 out of 185 liked it with a 4.2 average rating on League of Comic Geeks, and I gave it a 7.2, probably quite a bit lower actually than what they did. As I think about it, I might actually bump that up. Writers Philip Kennedy Johnson, artist is Carmen D. Guillermo, sorry dude, and Javier Fernandez. Once again, I butchered names. In this issue, no costumes, no gadgets. Actually, there is later on, but it really is more of a detective story, which should have been run-of-the-mill charity banquet for Bruce and Damian. It ended up going up in flames. Now they have to figure out what's going on, who's doing that, and this is a character possibly from Bruce's past. Damian has to deal with failure in this issue, and this is what I really liked about this one, in finding his purpose, because he realizes all this training and things, but what real goal does he have? And a new war is about to break out in the good old Gotham. What's going to happen? What's going to fill the void? There's decent art and a decent story here. This one really does focus more on character and being a detective. And I gave it a 7.2, but as I think about that and how I enjoyed that aspect of the series, I think I'm going to bump that up to a 7.4. Yeah, 7.4. So I'm changing my mind in mid-swing here. What did you think about this book if you read it? I'm curious of what you thought. Now, this next book, I think, is my book of the week. And there's some strong titles this week and some mid-levels, but this one is one that I think everybody can enjoy, and that's G.I. Joe, issue number 1. They've been building up to this with lots of miniseries targeting certain characters to pull it all together. And the cool thing is not just the good guys, right? We've got miniseries from both. We get a lot of different ideology and ideas from viewpoints of each one of these characters. 268 out of 275 liked this book with a 4.3 average rating. You ready? I give this book a 9. Yeah, so wow, right? And anyway, the writers Joshua Williamson, artist Tom Riley. I can't say I really enjoyed this book. Conrad Hauser, in other words, Duke, has assembled a special force known as G.I. Joe to battle the rising power of the mysterious Cobra in the aftermath of the Autobots and Decepticons' arrival on Earth. One of the kickers here that I do like is that even if you didn't read all the miniseries, which I think you should, this provides you with a nice introduction to the Joe characters. So if you didn't read those, it still catches you up to speed. But Cobra Commander has unleashed the power of Energon like never before in this one. And we get to see then why Cobra has laser guns. And you sort of think about it, you know why in the cartoons they had to, for, they couldn't have bullets flying around because it just wouldn't fit, it wouldn't be kid friendly. And so this sort of goes, hey, this is why they have these laser guns. And at this time, the Joes don't, so it's sort of cool. We're going to see lots of familiar faces and appearances in this issue as well, making you, all the fans happy. It's decent art in this book. There is some really good character banter, especially between the Baroness and Stalker. And let's be honest here, Duke shows how cool a guy he is and gutsy and ballsy. I love it. But I have to say this is a great start to this series, a phenomenal start. If you even have an inkling you might like G.I. Joe, even if you don't, I suggest giving this book a chance. But I will tell you, the last page is devastating. It absolutely, oh man, holy cow, that last page. I don't want to give it away, but boy, it's like, oh my gosh. So it must see. This book also has a great standard cover, but some of the additional extra covers that you can get are really, really good. The Cobra Commander one, in my opinion, is absolutely fantastic. But there's other ones too that are really good as well, like with Baroness. I mean, who doesn't like Baroness, right? And speaking of not like, let's jump to the Amazing Spider-Man issue number 61. 222 though out of 276 liked it with a 3-point average rating on League of Comics Geeks. Oh boy. I gave this book a 6. I'm sorry. I don't see it. Not a fan. The writer is Joe Kelly, artist is Nico Hiracon, and penciler though is Ed McGuinness. And usually I like Ed McGuinness for a lot of stuff. I think for Spider-Man he's okay. So the art is okay. Anyway, we have this new story arc beginning called The 8 Deaths of Spider-Man. And the world has changed. Dr. Doom is Sorcerer Supreme right now because he tricked Doctor Strange, right? So now it gives us a backstory that each year Doctor Strange would use every ounce of his power and experience to save the world from an evil god because of a deal that he made. And now Doom has to do that, but he's delegating that to other people, and he's delegating to Spider-Man some of this. And so Spider-Man's getting these magical powers and ability to be revived, I guess, 8 times. Here's the thing. The art is okay. In my opinion, some of the panels are a little too chaotic, a little hard to follow. I don't really care for the standard cover of this book either. I don't know why, and I'm a Doctor Doom fan. My son loves Doctor Doom. This just didn't do it for me. The dialogue in this book is really trying too hard to be cool and hip to today's standards. I mean, it's just seems, and I know Spider-Man and his humor and all that. I get that, but this just seems like trying too hard and it falls flat. I don't think Peter either would treat Doctor Doom like he did. He understands the importance and what Doctor Doom has to do, and understands the character well enough to not just brush him off with jokes so much, even though I do once again know how Spider-Man reacts to things, but just didn't fit. Another thing is they had to cram Spider-Boy in this issue, which was completely meaningless, and what's the point? So I deduct a point right from that, right from the start. He had no reason to be in this book. And so, what can I say? This just doesn't seem like a Spider-Man book to me. I wanted to look so much forward to a new team and a new direction, because the last direction was poo-poo. But if this is the start, it seems like we started with the new team, starting Amazing Spider-Man with the new story arc, stepping right in dung once again. I just don't care for this new story. I don't like it at all. But then again, maybe you do. If you like it and you're finding that you're enjoying this, let me know. I'd like to know what you see in it. Maybe I'm missing something and you can help me find the joy in it. And if you like it, that's great. But me, I think it's a turd. The next book I want to talk about is Captain America number 15. Yep, I'm going to throw my mighty shield. 49 out of 50 liked it with a 4.1 average rating, and I have to say I enjoyed this one too. I gave this an 8.2. And I know I'm a little biased, but if you notice, I've given Captain America down scores as well. This one I don't think, I think we're in a better direction, we'll put it that way, than that last story. The writer's J. Michael Straczynski, and ours is Jesus Diaz. And the New Warriors 3 Part 2. Yep, we have Thor, Captain America, and Spider-Man. When they find themselves drawn to this town, Broxton, Oklahoma, the trio will have to work together to find out what's drawn them to this ruined town, the site of Thor's greatest shame. But what they find may prove to be very horrifying and a very big threat to overcome. I have to say, the banter between Spider-Man, Captain America, and Thor is really, really good, especially between Captain America and Spider-Man. It's joking, but it's all about respect. There's decent art in this as well, Great characterization for the most part. And one of the cool things that I think is here is it's not just a story of peril. There's a heartfelt story in here. This story has some heart and tugging on emotions, and it makes the story more interesting. And once again, we see what makes Cap special in this issue. Captain America shows his bravery. Really, this is a solid issue. It has some alternate covers. Some are good, some, okay. I mean, the Thing one, why is the Thing in the Captain America suit? If there's something I'm missing, why they did that, let me know. It just doesn't seem anything important to me. But overall, 8.2. I think this story arc started last issue and continuing on here continues to be strong, and I'm enjoying it, and I think you might as well. Sadly, the sales just don't seem to be there for that book. But once again, when you diminish a character so long, people lose interest, and I think they have a lot to win back with the Captain America. And the last book I want to talk about today is Deadpool number 8. Because, when a character's hitting their height of popularity, you need to kill him off and replace him with somebody else. Just saying. 97 though out of 100 liked this book with a 4.2 average rating, and to be fair, I gave it a 7. I didn't hate this book. I did see it as a 4.2 though. Writer is Cody Ziegler, Alexis Quazamaro, which I mispronounced her name probably, sorry. Also, the artist is Rogue Antonio or something like, yeah, I think that. Once again, I probably butchered it. That's what I do. And it ain't easy being Deadpool. Yep, his daughter is still continuing to the battle for him. They're trying to keep Deadpool's business running with her and Taskmaster. They're trying to find a way to revive Deadpool, how they can save him. And I like that. And this book does have good banter and things. Finally, though, we get to find out why Deadpool no longer eats noodles. Yeah, big question mark filled in there. Now, that's a little bit of an inside joke with the story, with his ex and the noodles there. But I thought that was a nice little mention there. The team is really trying hard here to revive Deadpool. I think that's great. But we get MODOK now. And boy, MODOK, you find out that MODOK really doesn't take it well when somebody quits. Yeah, when somebody quits his business, he gets pretty mad here. There's decent art, and really it's a decent Deadpool story. It's got a little jokey humor though. I gave it a 7. I don't think it's the strongest book in this series right now. And I'm not going to jump on the bandwagon of hate because we have Ellie being Deadpool at the moment, because come on, Wade is coming back. Okay, absolutely. And the whole point here is trying to get Wade back. So I get it. And I enjoy Taskmaster. I wish we'd see maybe a little bit more of him in this issue. I wish they wouldn't make him quite as much of a joke, but because I think Taskmaster doesn't get quite as much as attention as he deserves and the treatment he deserves. There's some alternate covers for this book as well, and some, actually, I think all of them are pretty darn good. Matter of fact, all of them I think are better than the regular cover for this one. So the variants, I do tend to like them more. But those are the books I've read. What did you read? What should I have read? I'm sure I've missed a lot. I know people are giving me some great suggestions. I've been putting them on my list of books to read as I'm trying to do another read through of Captain America from issue, the very beginning to the very end. And I'm getting closer to that. Once I get done, I'm going to start picking apart some of those other series that have been recommended to me. So I greatly appreciate that. So thank you everybody for your time. And you know what? We've had a lot of division lately, a lot of fighting and things. I have to admit, I've taken part in some of that. I've ran my victory lap lately, and I usually don't do that, but I felt like I was beat down so much constantly by so many people that finally, I needed that win. And I'm not saying that makes it right. Maybe instead of being so much vitriol to one another, we can actually try to have a better conversation and explain those things in better ways. I did that just the other day with somebody on Twitter, and of course the person, once they realized they were wrong, they just blocked me and said something really mean. But that's the social media way. And the world isn't always like that, though. I think we have a lot more in common. And I think comic books like this is one of those things we can discuss, even if there's some major disagreements in those areas, and actually come together. And that's what I like to do with this and videos about tech and music and things like that, is to bring us together. And let's just try to have a little fun, realizing that, yeah, we can have disagreements. We can discuss those disagreements too. But in the end of the day, we can still walk away knowing that, hey, you know what? I appreciate having that discussion with you, and I don't hate you for it either. Thank you everybody for your time. I greatly appreciate all of you. Until next time, keep it frugal.